Loving
Good
it.
evening. Welcome to Lads, It's Tottenham. We haven't got an intro yet, so I just thought I'd nick one from the 1980s, the match, classic TV. And, my name's John. Welcome back to the show. And joining me, I haven't seen this guy for a long, long time, is my good friend Craig.
Yeah, hiya, John. It's good to be back online and actually online with our new branded channel, actually, Lads, It's Tottenham. It feels like I've been out of the game for a while now. But yeah, it's good to be back on. I'm excited to talk about Spurs. I'm excited for the season ahead. But I'm actually really excited, John, about the channel, Lads, It's Tottenham, and what we're going to do this year. We got some great lineup, haven't we, of guests that have come over from the cheese room that have come to join us, and it's going to be phenomenal, isn't it? Is it worth, John? I don't know, obviously talking about the Lads It's Tottenham name and where it's come from, so I think there's some
absolutely.
I
think we need to clarify this is nothing to do with us being guys. Ladies are welcome. It's the Alex Ferguson quote that Roy Keane gave us many years ago, that he walked into his team talk before Manchester United played Spurs and just went, "Lads, it's Tottenham." And he walked out again and they smashed us 3-0.
Yeah.
That's where it came from.
Yeah.
It's nothing sinister, nothing sexist. We hope people take it as it is. That's what it's supposed to be. So I think you need to address the comment by Phil there, Craig.
Yeah, well, Phil, no one is more devastated than me that the Matt Craig bromance reunion hasn't occurred yet. I promise you will see a lot of the Matt Craig bromance this season. We was meant to be on together last night. Work commitments meant that I couldn't get on. So we've scheduled it to tonight, and John's stepped up. But yeah, I promise you, Phil, within the next week or two, you will see the Matt Craig bromance back.
And obviously we have to begin our shows with a weather update because we're all around the world. You and I obviously both in the UK. I don't know if you can see. It's about 21 degrees here in my garage. I'm guessing it's probably similar up your way. Yeah.
Lovely evening. 21 degrees. Can't beat it.
JP's been working very hard on the graphics. You look in the top right hand corner. The new logo we've got is there. He's got some lovely front covers with awful pictures of all of us in, which will no doubt come up at some point, but we'll get there as time goes on. And Caller is planning to be back on Friday to do a show, so you can catch that as well. We're going to try and race through this tonight because we're both quite tired and quite hot, and you don't want to be here for 2 hours. Fletch, great to see you. Feels like haven't been away. Quite strangely, love the intro. Yeah, we're working on the intro. Hopefully, we'll get one fairly soon. And hope you're enjoying the little short videos. I know, Fletch, you commented on mine the other day. Craig, I loved yours where you said you were really buoyed, but you looked miserable while being really buoyed on the sofa.
Well, trying to look after a 3-year-old daughter that was very unwell. So I wasn't in the best place, but yeah.
Absolutely. I hope she's feeling better.
She is, I think, on the mend.
Good. And please do like this, subscribe to the channel if you don't already. I don't know how you don't. Please do subscribe to the channel, and please give us your comments as we go along. If you've got questions, ask questions. And obviously, we have to start. There's the boyfriend. There he is. Hello, Gibbo, son. Obviously, we have to start with the news that came out. Obviously, you've been leading up for a day or so. I think we have to thank Brentford for sort of kicking Tottenham's butt into gear here, Craig, by obviously trying to. But he went to have a medical there, didn't he? And then suddenly we spoke to Leeds and suddenly they rejected Brentford's offer. I'm guessing Joe Rodon might have had something to do with that. But Spurs announcing that we signed him on a 6-year contract and he'll wear the number 14 previously worn by the likes of Ginola and Modric. So no pressure, Craig.
No, I mean, I love the 14 shirt is iconic, isn't it, in Tottenham? Strangely, I think of Ginola before I think of Modric. Maybe that's an age thing, John. I don't know, but I love this signing. I think I said in the little short I put on, I really think it's got the hints of a Delhi type signing. He's young, he's 18. Of course, it's a risk in a way. Everyone would always say it's a potential risk, but everything about this player, everything about this guy, what he did for Leeds last season, a mainstay in the team. I remember they played Chelsea. Was it Chelsea in the League Cup or the FA Cup?
Yeah.
And he pretty much bossed that game, didn't he, in midfield? He's got a pedigree. He's got an aura about him and a pedigree and a confidence in an 18-year-old that I think is just phenomenal. So I'm really excited that Tottenham have got this guy in. Helps us with the homegrown, home trained stuff we need for when we get back in the Champions League and for Europa and everything else. Just overall a solid purchase. Really, really happy.
Yeah, so on that, he obviously doesn't need to be homegrown or club trained until he's 21. However, because he's joined us so young, as long as he doesn't get loaned out for it, which I doubt he will,
No.
he will qualify as club trained in 3 years' time. So actually helps us with that quota with the long term thing. So it's quite a smart move on that term. It is a lot of money, and that's obviously the concern. Let's just take that off. What I'd like to notice though, here obviously previous club Leeds United, he only turned 18 in March. He's already played for the under-21, England under-21s, which is interesting because do you know much about his family history, Craig?
Well, no, I don't, but he's got a pedigree, right? Someone keeps mentioning that he comes from a pedigree.
There you go. Look what Google found me. So I'm going to repeat again, England, because Eddie Gray, his great uncle, Frank Gray, his granddad, and Andy Gray, his father, not Andy Gray who played for Spurs or the one that used to work for Sky and Rangers, play for Rangers and Aston Villa, Wolves and Everton. Different Andy Gray who played for Forest and Sheffield United. All of them played for Scotland. But young Archie's played for England for all the ranks. Now, I think it'll be interesting to see, given that he's probably going to get a few games for Spurs in the autumn, you'd think. Maybe he won't start in the Premier League, but he'll definitely get some, time in as a sub or in the cup games, especially Europa League. If Steve Clarke or whoever the Scottish manager is tries to call him up, what do you reckon he's going to do? Do you think family might force him to go north of the border?
No, I just think that he has got such potential about him, hasn't he? And he's got everything or the hallmarks of being a top player. And I think he's clearly made his mind up certainly in the young years, hasn't he, with England? I think any player given the choice, with the greatest of respect to Scotland, if you've got the ability to play sides and he is the quality of player that he is, clearly the fact he's decided to play for England for every age group up to now, you've got to assume he'll go England.
Yeah. And going back to his uncle, so his father and his uncle both played for Leeds, the Dirty Leeds team of the 70s. Eddie, his great uncle, who's his grandfather's brother. Eddie was in 2000 was voted the third greatest player in the history of Leeds. So he's definitely got very good pedigree. And they were league champions. Were they European champions or did they lose the European Cup? I can't follow that. But yeah, they were a great team anyway. And we hated them. Everybody hated them. They were dirty Leeds. So Gray's, this is his position map. The bigger the circle, the more games they played. So obviously it's been reported he's played at right back. However, I think any comparisons to Porro or Emerson is naive because he is a central midfielder and he was filling in at right back. He did play 30 games there last season, but what I like is his versatility. Often happens with young players, but he seems comfortable in most of these positions. And here's the table with the number of games he played. So he played 30 at right back with 2 assists, 21 in central midfield, 14 as an attacking midfielder, 6 as a defensive, so a 6. Apparently played 2 as a centre forward as well, and 1 as a left winger. So the guy can get around, and he literally just, to me, with our inverted fullbacks, you think he could play that fullback role. Even he's comfortable at both sides of it.
Yeah,
and he gives and wants versatility, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. He does want versatility. I don't see him coming into our side at right back. I might be wrong. I do think that he's been signed with the view of, oh, well done, Ellen. I love that. I do think he's been brought in with the view of playing in midfield. And I think that in itself is quite interesting, John. I wonder if we just touch on the fact that how bloated our squad is in midfield now with this signing as well, and what that actually means. If you go through our midfield options at this moment in time, you got the senior players plus the young players in there. It's like something's got to move, right? Where are all these guys going to get a look in? It's mad to think. But what I thought was particularly interesting, John, is we've got 3 players now in midfield, young players: Gray, Sarr, and we've just signed Bergvall. Is that our midfield 3 for 3 years' time, 4 years' time? Is that the world-class midfield 3 potentially we're going to have for Tottenham?
Yeah, it could well be. I'm trying to think. I've got a picture of Bergvall, but I can't. Oh, I know where it is. Over here, over it. There he is.
There he is. I mean, and this is another guy, by the way, very similar to Gray, that's got real pedigree about him, hasn't he? He's got an aura about him, the way he talks, the way he commands games. I think we've got a really exciting young midfield options, and that's, you know, on top of that we've got Bissouma, we've got Maddison, we've got whoever else.
Højbjerg and
Højbjerg.
themselves are going. That's pretty much a done. You know, everyone knows they're going somewhere. They've got a year left of their contract. Get some money in. Skip's obviously the question mark. The homegrown thing might be the only thing that keeps him. And there's been rumours. There's been rumours of Bentacle that maybe had a bit of a fallout with Ange. How true that is, we don't know, and I guess time will tell.
That'll be because of the stuff that happened with Sonny, right?
Yeah, well, I think part of the rumour was it the City game. He kicked the bench and stuff when he got taken off sub after an hour, didn't he? When he was playing quite well as well. Or it could, the Sonny thing could be a contributing factor, I guess. But like I say, I mean, that might just be paper talk, because the club does seem to have clamped down on the leaks that we used to get in previous years. There's not so much information coming out anymore, is there?
No. But what about Divine? Where do you think this does for Divine? Obviously, another young player that we've talked a lot about.
Yeah, I mean, you've got Divine, you've got Donnelly, you've got Mikey Moore. I think Donnelly will go on loan. Divine, in some ways, I know there was reports Plymouth, although they didn't play Divine and Phillips much after the change in manager, wanted them both back. They both played the last game of the season, which helped Plymouth stay up. So could a season at the Championship do them good? Maybe they need to go. Both of them need to go to a higher Championship, or I think a low Premier League might be a bit too far. But we've got these 8 Europa League games, and hopefully we might get a better cup run this year in both cups. So we're going to need all these lads around, really. Donnelly, I think, has to go on loan. I think Will Lancashire needs to go on loan, and he's been linked with Middlesbrough, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Hi, Holly. Great to see you.
Hi, Holly.
Please do follow Holly's channel. It's a great channel. She gets some great guests on there. Smashes it. Yeah, I think Phil's right. Archie is definitely above Divine. Obviously, he's played. I've got it on here. He's played 50 odd games last season for Leeds.
Predominantly at right back, right?
Right back and central midfield, yeah. So yeah, his is England youth career. Obviously, he's played literally every age group, not under 18s, interesting, but he played 17s and 19s in the same season. So, and the fact he's in the 21s already at 18 years old is just astonishing.
Yeah.
I saw this tweet earlier. So I believe Archie Gray is the 4th highest teenager transferred in world football ever. So, that's quite a lot of pressure potentially.
Why is Sarr not in there? Where's Sarr in that list?
Sarr, oh yeah. So this is it because he's a bit older? But then Johnson's quite old, isn't he? Yeah, no, Sarr's under 23. You're right. Yeah. You can tweet Football Wonder Kids and tell them off. Someone do that now.
Yeah. Pepe Sarr. Okay. He's born in 2002, 21 years old. Yeah, so he should be in that list.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Right. Holly is saying, buzzing for Archie. Feel like we've got in there right before everyone else, and he's going to light it up. Yeah, he is. Well, obviously, Brentford have done us a favour, Holly, as I said, you may have missed it at the beginning of the show, by kicking us into gear to go and do the deal, because he had a medical at Brentford, and then suddenly Leeds rejected their offer. I don't really understand why he had a medical unless an offer had been accepted in the first place. So he must have gazumped them or used Joe Rodon as the tool to get it over the line. Obviously, Rodon's gone for about 10 million, which I think is a good result, Craig, to be fair, for a guy that had no future with us.
No, yeah, absolutely. To get anything for him is brilliant. And to use him in the way we have with Leeds obviously wanting him and going to the Championship, I think is perfect. Yeah, really good. I do love generally this conversation today, and that slide you just put up, the tweet. I'm really excited about this direction that Tottenham are going in with the signing of these young players again. It's just got realms of what we did under Poch, in those early years of Poch, when we had that core of the team, really young, dynamic team. I just feel like we're getting back to something like that at the moment. I'm really excited for the future.
I was thinking it was a bit when Arneson came in. I mean, that he did go a bit scattergun, and we signed all these players from all these that we'd never heard of from different countries, and some of them just disappeared, didn't they? It was a Czech lad, I seem to remember, and all sorts of players. But you know, it's promising that we clearly have got a strategy. My worry, especially if we are losing the likes of Lo Celso and Højbjerg, that we're going to have very little experience. Now, I appreciate we bought Werner in the most underwhelming signing since Andy Booth, but he has got experience. I'd like us to bring a couple of players, maybe mid-20s in if we can, just to bolster that.
Yeah, no, I agree, and that's the argument in the group chat. Someone's Stuart's asking why, you know, would you rather Archie or Ivan Toney? And then I think Phillips said why not both, and I think it's a real Phil said why not both. I think it's a really good point. We absolutely need some established Premier League quality players to come in and to bolster this squad as well. Do you think we'll get Ivan Toney?
There doesn't seem to be a lot of noise that other clubs are going for him, which is interesting. I do think, I know Arsenal have been linked with the Italian centre back today, haven't they? Which will be gutting if they get him. Yeah, Arsenal need a 9.
Yeah.
Chelsea, have Chelsea signed a 9 yet? They haven't signed it over the summer, have they?
I don't think so.
Chelsea probably need a 9. I know they had the guy that was injured most of last season, and Jackson seemed to keep going, but I don't think he's good enough in the grand scheme of things at the moment. And I'd love us to get Toney if Ange wants him, because obviously there's clearly concerns about his attitude. I don't think the gambling issues he had in the past will reappear. I think he's learned his lesson now. For me, Toney takes us to another level.
Really?
The thing we missed, yeah, because he can, number one, he can hold the ball up. The number of times, especially when Richarlison was out, we couldn't hold the ball up. It kept coming back at us. I honestly think it's one of the reasons we conceded so many goals. We couldn't keep the ball in the other end of the pitch. You keep the ball in their half, they ain't going to score, are they? And I think he will. He caused problems the other night for England. You know, as soon as he came on, a defender had to go and mark him, and suddenly Bellingham was unmarked because we had England had another striker in there. And I think, second wheel has got it spot on. Toney will cook under Ange. If you think, I know we criticised Johnson and Werner for their crossing, but Toney's one of those players who's got knack of being in the right place. And if he's got guys like that crossing for him, or even Kulusevski, when he can get his crosses in the air, right, Toney's good in the air as well. Sonny's not good in the air. Richie had a good run of form last season, but he can't stay fit.
Yeah.
And I think,
there's not an issue, is there? There's not an issue with money with Toney. There's you know, I think Tottenham, if we want to get him, we will spend money up.
I think wages won't be a problem because he's not on that big of money at Brentford. Yeah. So even if he was given 100 grand, it's going to be a big jump for him personally. I think the transfer fee, the only worry is obviously you'll never recoup any money on him. It's very unlikely because he's 28 years old. So this will be probably his last big move. But for me, I would take Toney. I'm delighted by Archie Gray. I didn't know much about him, but the research I've done. My only caveat is that in 2006, when Michael Carrick left, I spent quite a lot of time on YouTube watching videos of Didier Zokora, who looked like a world beater. And YouTube lied to me. So that just
YouTube always lies. Any highlight reel of any player is a lie, isn't it? I can't remember signing Zokora. God, I forgot all about him.
Yeah. So Levy could go Eze, Toney, or Todibo. There is another one. I'm just going to. Where's the other one? This is a guy we've been linked with, and the suggestion is if we go for him, we won't go for Eze. No idea how. I'm going to go Desiree Doué. I'm not really sure. If anyone speaks French and can phonetically do that for me in the chat, please do, because I've got no idea. But this guy looks like an exciting youngster. There's his stats. He plays for Rennes, and again, he plays all over the pitch, but mainly left winger. But he can play right wing as well. So this sort of fits the mold. A young player. He seems to be quite fast and tricky, quite highly rated. He's been linked with Dortmund and Newcastle. And if you're linked with Dortmund, you're probably a decent player, Craig.
Yeah, I suspect so. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and make out that I know anything about this guy because the first I heard about him was when we was linked to him. to be honest. And I've done like you've done, John, and done some research, put some highlight reels on YouTube, and I like what I see. But all I will say is that in recent times, our transfers have been a lot better, a lot more astute, a lot more clever, and I trust the setup at the moment to find these right players and to get the right players in. So it's who Ange wants, it's who the system and the scouting network have identified is fitting the profile of player that we want. Let's do it. But definitely, young players are seem to be our go-to at the moment. But like you said, it would be good to have some established players to come in with these younger players and to get us over that line, whatever that line is.
Maybe after the Euros, those established older players who are currently tied up with or Copa America may start moving a bit more freely. I just want to point this out. He's in the French Olympic Provisional 25. Thierry Henry is their manager. I only found that out this evening, along with the likes of Elise and Lacazette. Interestingly, now Elise is marked as a forward, whereas Doué is marked down as a midfield in their squad. So. I thought that was quite interesting. Also, if he had an N apostrophe at the beginning of his name, I'd be more worried because we don't have a great record of those guys, do we?
No.
So there we go. And obviously, on the left-hand side, we'd have Destiny and Desire, which, for those of a certain age might remember there was a nightclub. This is one in Swindon called Destiny and Desire. So, it's written in the stars, clearly. 2002 nightclub before they were born.
In Swindon.
That one's in Swindon, yeah. I think there was one in Basildon as well, actually, and there was a few around. I actually worked for that company many years ago, but I didn't work in a Destiny or Desire.
Love it.
So exciting times. We'll see what happens. I'd love Eze. And as Stuart said, Eze's Paque. 60 million is a lot of money, especially when with the buyout clause, the way teams like Palace can then use it to their advantage is they say, right, we want the 60, we'll accept you 60 million, but the payment terms are what we say, and we want the whole 60 million up front. And that's where I think Luis Suarez to Arsenal didn't happen because that was how Liverpool were able to block it by saying you've got to pay us now.
Yeah.
Right. Shall we?
Eze feels like out of the names we've been connected with, probably the most difficult one to get over the line, right?
Especially with Elise going to Bayern Munich now, that's going to make it difficult. With their new manager, they looked really good at the back end of last season. They're not going to want to be losing their best players. Mark Gahey, obviously, we've had a long-term interest in Gahey, is bringing a lot of interest in, as is Wharton. Obviously, they signed another Championship player. He came up in January and has looked brilliant and probably, is unlucky not to get any game time with England at the Euros. And you've also got Rodgers at Villa, who came from. So Wharton came from Blackburn. Rodgers came from Borough to Villa in January. Right, let's move on because we're cracking on. So Fabrizio telling us that Royal to Milan is, getting there. They're just trying to agree the fee at the moment. Royal is very keen. I think that's probably going to happen. Do you see us bringing another right back in if Royal goes?
Well, I mean, out of the right backs in the squad, is the one that's probably played, hasn't he, as backup predominantly in the squad. So it feels like we're going to have to bring one in if he does go. But then, I guess it depends on the flexibility that Ange thinks he's got in his squad. It might be that Gray's the one he goes to potentially as a backup in that area, and to give him more minutes if we need to. So we'll have to see. You can only sign so many players in a window, right? And I think whatever we're doing in this window, if you believe what Ange has said publicly, there's a clear plan behind our transfer strategy in this window. We know exactly what we're going to do and when we're going to do it. And you just trust in that. And if a new right back is part of that plan, I think we'll get it. I do think we've got more pressing issues though, John. I like to, the forward areas of the pitch. I think we definitely need to put some money down on that. So if it is a right back, I hope it's not at the expense of a forward that I do think we desperately need.
I think Andrew was clear at the back end of the last season. He said we need to improve the forward line, and we've signed Werner, but for me, we need another winger and we need a centre forward. We need to be putting Son out wide more often, not playing that centre forward role by himself. Ilmatic saying Paul Keefe said most most, if not all, of Eze's release clause money has to be handed up front. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And said his release clause has caveat after caveat and condition after condition. You know, Palace are good operators. They know what they're doing. They're not stupid. So, you know, they're going to make it difficult. Also, Fabrizio telling us that Spence talks with Tottenham. Anything can happen in 55 days ahead of us, said the Genoa director, Ottolini. At the moment, there's no agreement in with Spurs and no conditions to make it happen.
The
Obviously,
thing is,
there's loads of time.
Yeah, there is loads of time. The thing is with these clubs, as we said before on the Cheese Room, that there isn't much money in European football. So we're not going to get big transfer fees for selling these players on to these Italian clubs or French clubs or wherever they may be. So, you know, we got to accept that, you know, we aren't probably going to get 25 million for Royal is selling into to AC Milan, and we're not going to get you know, the money 20 million, 15 million we may want for Spence and into a French club. They're gonna be losses on these players. That doesn't mean we shouldn't sell, by the way. I think we have got better at a club now, haven't we, John, of taking our having losses a little bit and swallowing our losses when we need to. So we'll see what happens. But definitely
I think go on.
No, definitely we need to continue to do what we've done well in the last couple of seasons, which is move on this dead wood. You know, give space in the squad for these young players to come in.
Yeah, I mean, why are we haggling? I think it's so early on in the window. We know we'll get rid of him. Somebody will pay the money. And Genoa have just paid. Didn't Genoa just buy someone for about 15 or 20 million euros anyway? So they can't say they're completely poor. They had the option. Somebody will pay the money, I think. And
that's a good point.
Maybe
by the way,
Steve Cooper at Leicester will want Spence. That's a good shout.
Although
I
Leicester
haven't Leicester
got their problems.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Transfers in another chapter of the Christie novel. Yeah, you wait till the end, Angelo, and we'll see. So we'll go on to our next rumor. Pedro Neto is one of the players on the Tottenham list. The one doubt over the player has been regarding injuries. Well, I think that's everybody's doubt over him, really, because he's a fantastic player, but he's had hamstring injury after hamstring injury, hasn't he? And I can't see this happening, if I'm honest, Craig.
No, I mean, I love Neto. I think he's quality all over the pitch, but we can't. That is, Destiny's made a comment now about it's another Sessegnon type, or not Archie Gray's another Sessegnon. This is another Sessegnon. Neto, you sign him, you have him for half the season at best, and that's just not one-off season. That's season after season after season with Neto. He is just awful with injury. So yeah, I don't think it's one we go for.
Yeah. Neto has Weetabix ankles. I've got dodgy ankles and Achilles, Destiny, so I can fully empathise with him there. But I'm not a professional footballer, obviously. I'm just me. Rate Neto, but has hamstrings injuries, both legs. Yeah, it would be mad for the signs. Yep, I absolutely agree with that. Oh, and our resident Everton fan, Richo, is in the house. Good evening, sir. And I think Everton's just signed a player, haven't they? So they're splashing the cash, despite their ownership issues, which go on and on and on.
And they've still got financial fair play issues, haven't they? Haven't they still got ongoing issues as well with financial fair play for this season?
Well, they're in a new year now, aren't they? So I don't really know. But they've obviously got the problem with 777 and this apparently it being a bit of a Ponzi scheme is the rumour. So I know I think there's a few clubs around Europe owned by or got money with them, and they're causing a few problems.
Yeah.
The next one is not one I've heard of. We've registered an interest in signing 20-year-old defender Rico Brown after he's rejected a new contract at Birmingham City. Now, I looked up Brown. He spent last season on loan at a team I'd never heard of in a non-league, about tier 7 or 8, I think it was. But he is quite highly rated. He hasn't played for Birmingham as far as I can see. He has played for the youth teams. But this is definitely another one of these stacking up a player for the future and another homegrown talent. Yeah, but that's as much as I've got, Greg.
I think this is a bit lazy journalism, if I'm being honest. I think he's too old to fit the profile for someone that hasn't got any experience playing at a championship level. 20-year-old last season on loan, not getting into Birmingham squad at all, going out on loan to a low tier club. He's probably not one, and that waistcoat is hideous. That's something I was wearing in 1997. In fact, that whole look is what I was doing in 1997, 96.
I used to work in a snooker club, and in the late 90s, Meridian TV, which was the local TV channel at the time. They had the local franchise, and they. So what happens is in the UK, you've got lots of different TV networks within ITV, the independent television. Yeah, and they all would have their own shows, and they would normally have a season on their own channel, and then try and syndicate them across the network. And I was on a one episode of a series that didn't get syndicated, which was called Kicked Into Touch, which was a sports quiz program, and they wanted teams of 11. So they'd have a local football team from Southampton, and a volleyball team, and this and that. And we went as the snooker club. So they got us proper snooker gear, the full, bow tie. My dog's barking. Waistcoats, the whole lot, and we had to go and say that. Then you basically had 10 of us were stood behind these, with these buzzers, and our captain had to pick the question to be asked. We pressed our light if we knew the answer, and the captain had to pick who would answer. And the one question that I got to answer, I was very lucky because 5 of our questions were on snooker, and I knew nothing about snooker really. I could play it, but I worked behind the bar there. Was which former England manager had a hit with Diamond Lights? So yeah, that was quite fortunate. Anyway, that's my story about being on TV on a syndicated quiz show that went nowhere.
Love it.
Sorry, I've gone off. Right after Gio, Cess would be madness. I think it means for Neto. Yes, I agree with that. And Solomon. Yeah, I don't see Solomon playing for Spurs again. I think they're going to try and get rid if they can, aren't they?
Yeah, it's getting rid of him. There's going to be very difficult to find a suitor for him, but we shall see.
We could offer him back to Shakhtar Donetsk.
Yeah,
for a small fee.
Yeah, we'll end up paying them.
No, I know. 20 game Neto, a lot like Madders. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. They want such a big fee for him. There's got to be better options out there for me.
Yeah, I agree.
In fact, Archie Gray is a right back in centre midfield. We're in for Walker Peters as well. Makes me sick. Walker Peters again is a club trained player. If that's true, he was linked with West Ham last week as well. We don't know how true that link is.
No.
Your hair, Angela. You're going to have to tweet me a picture, please. I think Yeah. So you know my Twitter handle is there at SpursFan John. I think Levy got Solomon to try and get. Oh dear. So there you go. That's the updates for today. Caller's going to be back on Friday. I'm sure Craig probably won't have time to do a video tomorrow. I think he might be a bit busy with other things. I've got to decide who I'm going to vote for. I've got no idea to be honest. I know who I'm not going to vote for. That's the one thing.
Yeah.
But I've got to decide who I'm going to vote for tomorrow. Oh, here we go. What's this? Even Jets, can you do an update on what happened to the Cheese Room? Is this a rebrand or what? Yes, David, it's a rebrand. The Cheese Room is going to be just purely the podcast. Caller's going to be doing podcasts. I know Jack's going to be still doing some of the podcasts. We're still talking to Franco and all the guys. We just decided that we just wanted to change it up a little bit and make it a more Tottenham brand and definitely split the two apart. So we are just Lads It's Tottenham is this YouTube channel. Obviously, we've got a good relationship with the audio guys who do the Cheese Room, and we will still support them. And if they need guys to go on there, we'll go on there, and vice versa. Brendan is still going to do the odd YouTube show. So yeah, we're all good. We're all happy families. We just decided we got to a point of the Cheese Room wasn't really Tottenham showing on YouTube. It seems to work for the audio more than it does for YouTube. That was all.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've got to say the rebrand in the main has been well received, hasn't it? By everyone. I think everyone seems to love the name. It's brilliant.
I'm desperately looking. The one thing I really want, guys, is if anyone can help us find an actual clip of, because Roy Keane was on the that pod he does with Gary Neville the other day, but he said, "Lads, it's Spurs." If anyone can find the one from about 2010 is when he actually said it, bit of a video clip, so we can put that into our new opening titles. That would be amazing. That would be just brilliant.
Yeah.
Afternoon, Paddy. What country are you in? You're in the States.
I mean, we blame Caller for everything as well, Paddy, so it's all fine. We're in the same boat there. Yeah,
obviously, with the Cheese Room, it was a divorce, but we were bickering over who was going to have the child, and in the end, we had to take Caller. We didn't want to, but that's the way it is sometimes in these relationships.
Yeah.
Roy Keane, yes, Roy Keane has admitted he's a Spurs fan, and he's always had a soft spot for us. I do enjoy Roy Keane and his grumpiness, and he's very straight talking.
Yeah.
That's why he hates us when we crap. Bit like Souness as well. Souness obviously was at Spurs as a kid, and he said he always liked Spurs, but then he's quite critical. But then a lot of ex-Spurs players are critical. I think that's just the nature of the beast. You tend to be more critical of your own club, don't you?
Yeah, agreed. Agreed.
Yeah. So on that note, if you don't follow, please can you follow our new Twitter page, which is going at the bottom of the screen now, at It's Tottenham. Obviously, if you don't follow me. And Craig, what's your handle? It's Craig _Spurs.
_Spurs, yeah.
There you go. Got that right. And say, Cole will be back on Friday. We'll be trying to do these little walkabout videos, a bit Sean Butler-esque that he does, especially with my dog. I have to admit, I haven't released a video for the last 2 days. I've probably recorded about 10, but something has gone wrong every time. Like the dog went crazy a couple of times. I fully understand why Sean gets stressed doing his. The number of times he tells me, I had to record it 6 or 7 times, and Bugsy Malone was going mad. But that's crazy. Destiny, Twitter is toxic, but you can block things or mute words and stuff like that. So that's the way forward if you are on there.
And Destiny, I'm sure you are subscribed, but make sure you subscribe if you're not.
So yes, absolutely. Thank you very much for watching, guys. If you're watching this on catch up, or even you're watching now, please give us a comment afterwards. Give us a like. It really helps us grow the channel. We're desperate to get up to 9,000 subs by the start of the season. And Craig, shall I play the match?
Yep, absolutely.
Out again. Let me just get rid of Destiny's comment. Cheers, Norm. Cheers, Fletch. And walk around with hedgehog fans. I've still got to take the dog out though, and he loves the beach. It's great at this time of the year. It's the great thing of living literally 10-minute walk from the beach. So I do, it's a pain getting to Tottenham, but it's great for just everything else. And on that note, thanks for watching, guys. See you soon. We'll be back at some point next week, or we'll be on our little walks. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.